When I had reached the end of March, I thought I was going to be set up fairly well for getting a number of games completed in April. Turns out that thought was pretty accurate. I was able to complete 3 games in April and also play a good variety of games overall during the month. Do I wish that I had completed a few more games? Always. But I'm also pretty happy with what I was able to finish and play during April. Sadly, I'm not sure that my position here at the end of April is going to do the same thing for me in May. Granted, it's always hard to say how many games I'll finish up in a month, but I'm not holding out hope for another 3 completion month in May. Before I get too far ahead of myself though, let's take a look at what I played during April. As I said, I completed 3 games in April. 2 of these were games that I had been earning leftover trophies for, while the other was a story game that I was able to complete and also earn all of the trophies for at the same time. First of these completed games is Spider-Man 2. Last month I was able to platinum Spider-Man 2 finally, but I still had the new trophy added by the New Game Plus update to finish up. I was able to do that in April and get all of the trophies for the game. This allows me to stick it on my completed list for now. I do know that DLC has been rumored for Spider-Man 2, so this may return in the near future when those release. For now though, it is in my completed category, and I'll be happy to pull it back off of that whenever those DLCs drop because I love the whole Spider-Man series of games, so I'll be very happy to pick that back up when those DLCs come out. Second completed game, Final Fantasy V Pixel Remastered. Here was another that I was very close to completing last month, but fell short due to missing a few monsters for the bestiary. 2 of these were on the big bridge, which required a bit of time to get to, restarting the game and getting to the big bridge. And then once I got those, I realized that I had missed a monster in the final interdimensional rift dungeon. Thankfully, that was fairly easy to find and knock out since I still had my save from beating the game. So I just had to load that up and go and find it, which didn't take me nearly as long as trying to get to the big bridge for those other 2 entries. The third completed game was 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. This was the only story game I was able to complete during April, but oh, what a story game it was. 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim is a combination of a visual novel, kind of like an adventure, point-and-click adventure type game, and a tower defense strategy RPG, which is kind of a very weird combo overall. It's a game that leans heavily into sci-fi themes of all kinds and has a plot that is quite convoluted, but one that I also found really interesting to play through, as it always had you trying to figure out what exactly was going on. I am planning to have a review up for it this month to say a little more about what I thought about the game with a bit more detail. Don't worry too much, as I am going to try to have the review be as spoiler free as absolutely possible, so be on the lookout for that in May. In terms of story, I spent the majority of the month working through 13 Sentinels, but I did also play a couple of other games during the month. First of these is Stardew Valley. I only played this once this month, and I'm definitely feeling like it is holding up my progress on the PC story game front. The big issue has been that the new update has made playing my Stardew Valley expanded run a little rocky. The mods have had to update sometimes multiple times to work with the new update, and I found myself running into some issues every once in a while, or I go to play it and there are a bunch of updates that I need to install, so I wind up spending my time installing updates instead of actually playing the game. I am hoping that this slows down and I'll be able to get to it a bit more in May, but if I don't, I may need to just stick this in the endless category a bit earlier, play it whenever I feel like it once those updates get a little less frequent, and then move to a different story game for the PC. We'll see if that happens. I'm not really sure. I'm kind of hoping that by now we'll be a little bit more smooth, but who knows. The second story game is Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster. So I've been working through the Final Fantasy series of games. My method has been to do a Final Fantasy game and then play another game from my backlog, so I'm not kind of burning out on the Final Fantasy series. So after I beat 13 Sentinels, I started playing Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster. This is the last Pixel Remaster of the collection and another game that I have very fond memories of playing when I was a kid. I'm not super far into my playthrough this time yet, but I am enjoying it so far. I really do hope that the game is as good as I remember it. What I can say so far is that it is definitely the pinnacle of the Final Fantasy series graphics-wise from the SNES era. The level of detail in just about everything in the game is so noticeable compared to Final Fantasy IV and particularly Final Fantasy V. I'm hoping that I'll be able to work through the game in May, but who knows if I'll have the time to complete it or not, as the Final Fantasy games do seem to be increasing in length as we go on. Moving on from story games, I'll be focusing on games games that I call endless games. These are games that don't have clear-cut endings. They can be online PvP, arcade, sandbox, creative, simulation, or party games. Some of these are games I enjoy quite a bit and keep playing off and on, while others are ones that I play for a season and then move on from. There are also games that we'll play as a family off and on depending on the month. April saw a bit more variety here than some months, but nothing new or out of the ordinary on this list, as all of these are games that have been here before. The first endless game is Fortnite. There's been a lot going on with Fortnite in April. We are still in the midst of the Greek mythology season, and I have continued to enjoy the season quite a bit overall. Then a few weeks ago, the Avatar crossover event started up, which has also been a lot of fun, getting to play with all the different bendings in the game. And really, that's one of the things that I love about Fortnite is the fun creative weapons and crossovers that they continually add into the game. It just mixes things up a little bit and creates some fun combinations of weapons and situations that you don't really get anywhere else. There is also a new Fortnite festival season as well, this time highlighting Billie Eilish, and while I have yet to buy a festival pass, we do enjoy playing it as a family every so often to get our rhythm game fix. May will have a Star Wars crossover event, which is always fun to play as well. The season also comes to an end near the end of May, and the new season will start. I don't think I've really heard too much about what the next season is going to have, but as always, I'll be looking forward to a new season starting up and seeing what changes that brings to the game. Second endless game is Marvel Snap. Here's another game that is consistently on my list. I know I was kind of down on Marvel Snap last month, but I do still enjoy the game overall. I still get a little frustrated with how some of the systems work in the game, particularly the ones involving how you get new cards, but it's still a fun, strategic game that I enjoy quite a bit. I did get a few new cards in April, of course Baron Zemo from the season pass, but I was also able to get Red Hulk, Mockingbird, and Martyr during the month as well. Not the best month of cards overall, although Red Hulk has been one I'm enjoying. I have also enjoyed some of the new additions to the game, like the bonus booster system and custom cards. These are good ways to implement the customization of the game in fun ways, even if it does feel a little pricey in how some of those have been implemented. The third endless game is NGU Idle. The numbers are still going up for me as I've been playing NGU Idle over the last month. It's one of those situations that I'm not in love with the game, but yet I'm curious to see what's left to discover. It has so many systems that I haven't even unlocked yet, despite the fact that I've logged quite a significant amount of time playing or, well, idling the game. I'm sure at some point the curiosity will wane and this will get pushed off to the side, but for now, I'm still engaged with it. The fourth endless game was Overwatch 2. Played this together as a family a couple times over the month. The first time we played it was during the April Fool's event where the heroes get goofy voice lines and their skills are all different. It was weird fun to play this way. We also played it later on in the month after the latest season started, and this was kind of fun because all of the heroes were unlocked with this update and I got to try out some of the new characters and, well, die quite a bit because I wasn't used to how they worked. As I typically say, Overwatch 2 is fun to play, but it just isn't a game that I can say that I play super regularly. It's like twice a month, if even that much. The fifth game is Vampire Survivors. I spent a little time with Vampire Survivors this month, getting caught up on some of the recent updates. At the end of February, it released the space update, but I wasn't able to get to it until early this month. As always, I enjoyed my time playing with the new weapons, the new level, the new character. I particularly liked the phaser weapon. It was fun and seemed pretty powerful, but I also did enjoy the Paco Batelliar weapon as well, having bats fly on the screen as weapons for you. That's just kind of fun and unique. It maybe didn't feel quite as strong as the phaser, but I still enjoyed it. Then at the end of April, Vampire Survivors decided that it needed to have another update, even though they've got a DLC coming out at the beginning of May. This one was their laboratory update, which added another new weapon, the Santa Javelin, a new character, Santa Ladonna, and the Armadillo. Think Candy Box, but for passives, while also adding 2 new levels in the mix as well. I had a lot of fun trying out the new stuff and also just playing some Vampire Survivors in general during April. I am also looking forward to the Operation Guns DLC as well that's coming out in like early to mid-May. I'm planning on putting out a DLC review for it as soon as I get it and spend enough time with it. So you can be on the lookout for that in May. And the final endless game is Bloons TD6. After not being on the list the last few months, I did play some Bloons TD6 this month. We played some co-op as a family during the month, and it was fun to play again after not playing it very much recently. I don't think that I really did much on my own in-game besides the co-op with family, but maybe I'll get back into that a little bit more in the following months. And lastly, we'll take a look at the trophy games for the month. During much of the month, Spider-Man 2 and Final Fantasy V were my focus for trophies, but after they were completed, I was working on another game game to try to earn some trophies this month, and that game is 7 Days to Die. I know I'm probably not going to platinum this game, as it's old and I don't even know how able you are to get some of the trophies in the game, but I have been trying to see what I can earn before I give it up. It's definitely a game that's a bit rough around the edges, but it is also fairly fun. Unfortunately, the PS4 version is way behind where the PC version is now, which is probably partly why it's so rough feeling, but I also saw that there is going to be an updated version of this released for console soon, so that's kind of cool. Sadly, I'm guessing that the trophy list will probably be completely separate, but I may try the newer version after earning my trophies here to see how much has changed in the game over time. And that's all of what I played during April. I'm happy to get 3 games completed and really had a pretty good month in general in terms of games I played. While I always wish that I could have had more time and that I would have liked to complete or get further in more games, I'm still fairly happy with the progress I made during April. How about you? What have you been playing in April? Let me know in the comments, as it's always fun to see what others are playing and to look for games I may like to add to my own backlog. Hope everyone had a great month and that you've been playing games that you enjoy. That's all for this month though, so I'll see you in the next video.